Okay, guys, shalom. We have another exciting message. I feel like I say that every time, but this really is. Guys, what we're talking about is Ezekiel's temple, New Jerusalem, um, Moses' tabernacle. All of these have the revelation of the tribes, the revelation of the rulers, the revelation of those that are given the rod of iron. Okay, so hopefully prior to this, what you're going to see in this presentation, guys, hopefully you've seen Ezekiel's temple in New Jerusalem, because what these are is there's a pattern of God's divine order that he has presented in 4 temples. Okay, 5 times he said build a temple. One of those is the second temple, Ezra, Nehemiah, but he gave Moses, he gave David, he gave Ezekiel, and he gave Apostle John the pattern of the temple. Okay, now each of those gives an order of the tribes. It also gives an order of the rulers, okay? And also other things, like in New Jerusalem, there's the gemstones, and those are also on the foundations in New Jerusalem are also on the priest's breastplate, okay? So guys, I hope you like the view here. But what we're going to do is we're going to get into these charts, and I'm going to show you these, and hopefully you'll get these. There's way more information on these than I'm going to share in this video. I have to make it quick, but let's get right into it. And here we go. Now, again, like I say, please get this, these graphs and these charts, and study them for yourself, okay? But what we're doing here is we have these patterns, okay? We have the first one is Moses' tabernacle. You can see that right here. The second one is the house of David, the first temple, okay? And we have Ezekiel's temple, and we have New Jerusalem. Now, guys, in each one of these, God does some interesting things. When you look at the tribes, it's very significant. It's very prophetic. I don't have time to get into all that now. I have to focus on just this information. But what we have is when Moses was in the wilderness and the children of Israel fell to Balaam, when he deceived them and they slept with harlots, he formed an army. That army was 1,000 people per 12 tribes. Okay, so the first thing we have is there's 1,000. Now, at the time of David, there's troops of 24,000. Okay, and in New Jerusalem, there's troops of 12,000 per tribe. So here we can see a clear pattern of 1,000, 24,000, and 12,000. So these are the order of the tribes. So Moses ordered the tribes as well with a ruler. With a ruler is not a measuring ruler, but a leader, a captain, a host, an apostle. Okay, so in Moses' tabernacle, you can see the tribes are ordered, and he assigned a leader or ruler to each tribe. Okay, and you can see on here, if you get this, there's Ephraim and Dan is included in Moses. We'll talk about that later. But in Numbers 17, as well, it talks about 12 rods. And what he did is he had 12 staffs made, and they wrote the name of the leader and the tribe on each staff. And that's the story of when Aaron's rod budded, okay? But each leader had a staff. Okay, that's important. Now, then what we get to is we get to House of David. In the House of David, we also have the order of the troops of 24,000. They're ordered by a month, okay? And then there's 12 months in the year, so it's 24,000 times 12 is 288,000. And there are, in 1 Chronicles 27, guys, when I talk about the House of David, what I'm trying to explain to you is that everyone talks about Torah. Okay, that's great. That's Moses. But there's something so extraordinary. If you study 1 Chronicles 24 through 29, it's called the House of David. This is the key of David for you to understand the book of Revelation. Because in this is the order of 24 leaders. the 24 elders. So when you see the 24 elders in the book of Revelation, they are according to these patterns, okay, of 24. So you have 24 judges, you have 24 singers and musicians, you have 24 porters, and then in 1 Chronicles 27, you actually do have 24 as well, but you have 12 and 12. You have 12 over the military, 24,000 each, and then you have these 12 rulers. So what happens is they set rulers, okay, and tribes in order in the house of David as well, okay? And now let's just keep going and keep transitioning. Now when we get to Revelation, the reason I'm doing all this is that Revelation is ordered in the same way, okay? You have 12 tribes, and then you have a ruler, you have an apostle over each tribe. And then we know there's 12 foundations in New Jerusalem. So you have these tribes listed in Revelation 7, okay? And you have the 12 apostles. Jesus said, the 12 apostles, you will rule over the 12 tribes of Israel. So these are the tribes, okay? And we know that those tribes are ordered by 12,000 times 12 is 144,000. Now you can see here clearly that in the house of David, when it says 24,000 troop times 12, these represent the virgins, okay? We know that there were 10 virgins, okay? Now, we know that not all of them had their oil, so only half were wise. So we have the same thing. So we get to Revelation, we get the order of the tribes, we have 12,000, but they started with double that, 24,000. See that? All right, times 12 is 144,000. All right, now, what happens as well when you study these, there's significance in the names of the 12 tribes, okay? So, for example, there's actually 14 tribes. And the reason for that is Joseph has two sons. He has Ephraim and he has Manasseh, okay? Now, sometimes Ephraim and Manasseh are included in the 12, and then somebody is left out. So it's very important for us to understand who is left out or who is numbered. This is very significant, okay? Now, in Moses' tabernacle, when he ordered the rulers and he ordered the tribes, Ephraim and Dan are included, okay? And the next time is the house of David. You can see Ephraim and Dan, they are included. Now, when we get to the 12 tribes of Revelation 7, Ephraim and Dan are not included, okay? And we'll explain that in a moment, but then in Ezekiel's temple, you'll see Dan is included. Now, what does that mean? Now, as we go through this, guys, the order is that this is all building the house. The people are the structure of the temple. So what's going to happen is the structure of the temple, before Ezekiel's temple can be built, the people have to be built, okay? And the first fruits that are built are these 12 tribes. But Dan and Ephraim are not there. The reason they're not there is the King Jeroboam made a second golden calf, just like the children of Israel made a golden calf in the wilderness with Moses and Aaron. They did it again. The King Jeroboam, he made that in two tribes, Dan and Ephraim. Bethel is in the tribe of Ephraim. You can see that in 1 Kings 12:28. Very significant. So what this means prophetically, as the virgins are assembled, the two tribes that represent the apostate, virgins, unwise virgins, are Ephraim and Dan. Okay, so they're not going to be included in these tribes. Very, very significant. Now, something else I want to show you, which is a mystery, I hope you can understand, is that these tribes, you can see there's Manasseh is a half a tribe and a half a tribe, and there's two rulers. Now, what's interesting is there's a tribe unusual of a Aaron or Aaron. So Moses and Aaron. Now in Hebrew you say a Aaron. The reason that's significant is Aaron, when we say in English Aaron, we're actually saying the word for ark of the covenant. That's Aaron. So the proper pronunciation is a Aaron. Oops, sorry about that. And what that's a tribe, okay? But what it represents, the ruler of that tribe is Zadok, okay? Now Zadok is the ruler, but really he's the tribe. Okay, so this is a different tribe than the 14 that are normally counted. Okay, now the reason that's significant is we get to Ezekiel's temple. You can see here, Zadok, the sons of Zadok are the priestly order. Okay, and they're of the tribe of Melchizedek or Melchizedek. So when we say Melchizedek, that's actually Zadok. Zadok means righteousness. So there actually is a mystery of another tribe outside of these normal 12 tribes of children of Israel. There's another tribe, talks about it in Hebrews. Okay, the Lord Jesus Christ came out of the order of Melchizedek, came from another tribe. It says that in Hebrews 7, 13 and 14. So just read that. Okay, so there's another tribe. Now I'm also going over all this so you know who your tribe is. Just as like I said, you need to find your new name, you also should find your tribe. Just like the rulers, they got the staffs, okay? They got the staff, they wrote their name and they wrote the tribe on the staff, okay? I don't have my staff with me right now. Maybe another time I'll show you. But this is the same thing the Lord Jesus Christ did. When he commissioned the disciples, he said, you know, don't take 2 pairs of shoes. Don't take 2 staffs. Take 1 staff. And he named them. He named the 12. So what he did is he essentially did the same rod of iron that he's going to rule the nations with. He gave to the 12 apostles. Okay. And we know the 12 apostles are the rulers over the 12 tribes in New Jerusalem. Okay. So hopefully you can see that. You can see that consistently there is a number of the tribes. There's the 12 tribes mentioned, and there's a ruler, okay? And that same thing happens in the house of David in the first temple, okay? But there's a mystery because there's a new tribe. So what's happening is the house of David gives us the tribes of Ephraim and Dan, which is the foolish virgins, but it's telling us about the sons of Zadok. The sons of Zadok are a separate tribe, okay? Now, the other thing here is we also have the arrangement north, south, east, and west. Okay, so basically what this means is Dan and Ephraim are not included in Revelation 7. But when we build Ezekiel's temple, we'll see Dan is one of the 12 tribes, positioned north, south, east, and west. So what that means is they're going to go as part of the great multitude into the great tribulation to be tried. Okay, these are those that must wash their robes with the blood of the lamb, okay, and be tried. Okay, so hopefully you understand this, and hopefully I've covered everything I wanted to cover. But again, the house of David, 24,000 times 12, the virgins. Okay, the tribes of New Jerusalem, 12,000 times 12, the wise virgins. Okay, now as well, guys, what we're doing here is we're numbering the people. We've told you this before, but I strongly encourage you, because these tribes, this order, everything is very, very important that you find out your tribe, you find out your position, because there's many numbers. Now, what we're going over here is the virgins, okay? The wise virgins, okay? But there's also the man-child. They have the staff. They rule. And then there's many armies. Okay, there's several armies, just like we saw. There's almost 600,000, 7 million, and 200 million. There's another video on this great army. But what we're doing is many, many tekel pairs. Number, weigh, divide. Okay, and this is the order. This is the pattern of the tribes. Lion, ox, man, eagle. East, west, south, north. White, red, black, pale. Okay. So, again, watch the other video. I'll put a link in the description field of the Great Army. So, you may also wonder, okay, Leland, what is the, practical application of all this? Well, hopefully you guys have watched the video where we showed you the order of the eclipses, okay? This one with this pattern here. So, there's a perfect order of eclipses that happen. 14 eclipses, really 15 to conclude the whole thing. 15 eclipses. Now you wonder, like, okay, Leland, you do this calendar, you do all this stuff. What is the practical application? Well, if you get the calendar, guys, the calendar has a priest every Sabbath. Okay? So, for example, we're right here. It's the 11th month and 12th day. I will have an Enoch calendar for 2018, but we still have 2 months to go. But you can see we're in the priest course of Jachim. Okay, that's Jachim. And I'll show you the order of what's going on here. But basically, a priest serves in the temple. That's what happened with Zechariah, John the Baptist's father. He was serving the priest course of Abijah. All right, and that's 1 week. So we're in Joachim. Okay. Now, the reason this is significant is that when I showed you the eclipses, another thing I want to show you real quick is these eclipses also follow a pattern of these priests. Okay, now this is amazing. I hope you can understand this. Okay, so for example, you have the first trumpet. Now the week where the solar eclipse, February 15th, 2018, that week, the priest that's serving that week, guys, is Bilga. Okay, he's number 15. And the next one is the solar eclipse is, the lunar eclipse is July 27th. That is another priest, okay? Jeshiabab, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, okay? And then there's Inmer, and then Hezer, and then there's two. So what's going on here is there's actually a perfect sequence of these priests that correspond to the eclipses. Okay, let me say that again. Each one of these eclipses has a priest, just like I showed you here. These priests, they serve twice a year. All right, so one time is in the spring or summer, the next time is in the fall or winter. And what happens is we go through, you can see it forms a pattern, it forms a sequence of these priests. Okay, so you can see this one goes 15, 14, so it goes back one, but then you have a perfect sequence, 16, 17, 18, 18 twice, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24, 1, and it finishes with number 1. So you can see that there's a perfect alignment, not only of our pattern here, our pattern of falling within a 6-month period of each of the trumpets, trumpet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and then there's a solar eclipse within that interval, okay, solar, lunar, 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 solar, 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 okay, so there's a perfect order not only of the eclipses, but in the calendar there's also a perfect order of the priests, okay, so this is what I'm showing you divine revelations in order of the priests, okay? And so the God of heaven and earth orders everything by this priest calendar. This is why I emphasize the calendar so much, is because this calendar, the God of heaven and earth, uses to set things in order, set things in motion, okay? And you can see that clearly as it relates to the solar eclipses, the 7 trumpets, the 7 bowls, over a period of 7 years, corresponding perfectly with, how many is this? I think it's 10 priests, I believe, okay? Now let's wrap it up and let's talk again one more time about the tribes, okay? So here we can see the tribes. The tribes are at the time of Moses. There's 12 tribes, there's 12 rulers, there's 1,000. Times 12, 12,000, okay? We get to the house of David, there's 12 tribes, okay? There's 12 rulers, all right? There's 24,000 times 12, 288, representing the virgins. We get to New Jerusalem, there's 12 tribes, there's 12 rulers, there's 12,000 per tribe, times 12, 144,000, representing the wise virgins, okay? This house is organized in camps and built. It says this in 1 Chronicles 15:23, each according to his camp, each according to his tribe, okay? So God's army, God's order is always by tribes, okay? And then what's going to happen is Revelation 7, these are assembled, they're sealed, and when he builds Ezekiel's temple, okay, there's going to be 12 tribes again, bringing back Dan, okay? Dan is removed here at this time, but he's included as well. Ephraim is part of the great army. So guys, thanks for watching. I can't encourage you enough to get this graphed. We also have the mystery in here of the sons of Zadok in Ezekiel's temple. In Ezekiel's temple, there's the sons of Zadok, which represent the tribe of Melchizedek, okay, which is another tribe. So we have the tribes, we have the rulers, their rods are given, and the rod of iron is also given in this order and in this fashion. So guys, thanks for watching. As I say, please get these notes. I will also organize the notes in a way that you can you can not just study this, but study other topics. In fact, before I wrap it up, in the house of David, one thing I am also going to update, guys, is this chart. In this chart, it gives you the governors, which is 1 Chronicles 24. This is the order of the 24 elders, and the singers and musicians. So these are the guys here. So we see Bilgah, Inmer, Hezer, Aphes, Pethaniah, Jechaziel, Jachin, Gimel, Deliah, Maziah, and Joachim. So here you can see the order: 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 1. Okay, the solar eclipses follow this sequence. Okay, as well in 1 Chronicles 25, there are singers and musicians. Guys, if you don't know how to be a king or priest of the Most High God, this is the order of priesthood. Okay, it's in 1 Chronicles 24, 25, 26, 27, and I have a playlist on this, on the house of David. Okay, so I'm going to update this. I'm going to include this in the notes for the house of David. As well, I'm going to include the information in the video today. Okay, so guys, thanks for watching. Please get these notes. Please watch the links in the description field, and watch and pray that you be counted worthy to escape all these things in Yeshua's name. Amen.